Every single one of us, as soon as we touch down here on this earth, we are in search of something. We don't know quite what that is. We don't understand, but we're in search of something. As you get older, you tacked on everything else outside of you. And as you get older, you go through survival, right? Trying to people please, and giving away all of your energy. The first portion of your life is all about consuming and giving, right? Notice the words that I'm using though. The first portion of your life is consuming and giving. You are constantly taking on other people's thoughts, opinions, emotions, energies, whatever you want to call it. Everything from other people, you're taking that on because, again, like I said, when we first get here, we're all in search of something. We don't know what we're in search of, but we're in search of things. And when you're in search of something, the things that you don't know we really don't know what all this is. You don't really know what life is or anything. You don't know anything about it. So whatever you attach yourself to, whatever you attach to you, whatever you consume, you're attaching to you or consuming, because you feel like it'll make you safe. You're giving from a place of like fear, scarcity, lack, all those things. You're giving out of those energies, out of those low vibrational energies. What ends up happening over time is that you realize that as you get older, you start noticing that everything is like in cycles, or everything is like patterns. Everything is, so when you start to like go through so much in your life, the best thing that you can do when you're going through something like really bad or something that you think is just detrimental or whatever the case may be, right? The best thing that you can do is remind yourself of where there's always an emotion that's attached to whatever the situation that you have going on is. So, for example, I've been on abundance lately, right? Because financial things, money, can trigger emotions in people because this is an energetic thing, right? It's literally a piece of paper, but there's energy that goes with money because it's something that can get you these things that you desire in life. But remember, whenever you get a trigger, right? That's what we call them, a trigger. It's for you to take a look and say, hey, why am I feeling this way? What is this feeling that I'm feeling, right? Because for some people, like for me, if I have triggers with money, the first thing I feel like I want to do is get up and go do something about it. I want to get up and go perpetuate that survival mode. I want to get out there and make it happen. I want to be in control. I want to be ahead of this thing. That is the vibration that I have surrounded myself with concerning money, but it's not, you have to understand that like, that's not your understanding. That is not your energy behind that. That is a learned energy. That is a learned behavior. That is a pattern that has been passed down. That is a cycle. That is a thought process that has been passed down. So when you understand that it's a thought process that's been passed down, that it's not yours, you create your own understanding with money. When you understand that what we see in this physical world is not really what it is. There's really like another layer underneath this that makes these things that makes everything look the way it is. It's energetic. Everything is based on emotions. Everything is based, it's the craziest thing, but that there's so much power in emotions. There's so much energy in these emotions if you choose to channel them the proper way. Instead of me getting into the survival mode, fear-based like vibration, you can choose to look at your life and say, you know what, I'm not gonna go back into this whole thing of, I can think of the same thought process let me try to take it back. I can think of the same thought process that would normally hit when money becomes a problem. The same thought process would be, oh my God, I gotta get up and go do this. I gotta get up and go do that. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna be able to. It's all these things of lack and not having and what needs to be done in order to receive something, rather than looking at your current circumstances and looking at what you do currently have, looking at what already makes you abundant, looking at the fact that you do have a roof over your head, that you do have food to eat, you do have a vehicle to drive, you have children who love you, you have all of these things. You have life, you have breath, like you're here. The fact that you exist, that's really more than enough in itself. The fact that you're living and breathing and experiencing this life in the way that you're experiencing it is more than enough within itself. And so when you understand that, you break yourself out of that pattern. You have to break yourself out of this. You have to get so tired of that. You have to recognize the pattern. That's why it's called pattern recognition. You have to recognize the pattern that you're perpetuating, the cycle that you're perpetuating. You have to choose to step outside of it. You have to choose to see it differently. That's why I said everybody, when we get here, we're searching for something. We're always constantly searching and searching and searching. And it's not until you get to the point to where you realize, once you get to that point, I'm searching for me, and I'm searching for what I already have within. I don't need to go do anything, go chase anything, go be anything other than what I already am in order to receive what is already mine, because it always was mine and it never was not mine. I already have everything I need, everything that I need right now, everything that abundance is already here right now. And because I'm choosing to find the abundance where I'm at right now, because I'm choosing to find the abundance in what I have right now, I'm calling and bringing in more abundance to me. I'm rewriting how I see it. I choose not to live in a state of perpetual survival mode. I refuse to keep thinking that I have to be anything other than existing. I have the things that I need. Don't be stupid, right? I have a job. I have all these things, right? I don't need to have 3 and 4 and 5 jobs. I don't need to have all these hustles and all these things. I don't need to have all those going on. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I need to be doing is making sure that I'm in alignment with me. You know what I mean? And being in alignment with me right now means, hey, I got this job and this is more than enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm more than abundant. You know what I'm saying? If you add another layer of stress onto yourself, you're going to continue to see where you lack instead of aligning with. It's the craziest thing. You're not aligning with what you physically see. You're aligning with what's underneath the surface. There's something underneath the surface that you have to tap into. You have to tap into that vibration that's underneath the surface. And when you tap into that, that brings forth everything that you're looking for in your physical reality. You have to, like, the reality that you're looking at, the way that you're looking at this life, how it looks to you right now, there's another way to look at it that will free you. In every single aspect of your life, I don't care what it is. There's always a way to look at something that will free you and liberate you. So I'm going to leave that with y'all today. That's what I've been on. Everything is about pattern recognition. Even doing something simple like going back the past 5 years, right? We notice that seasons come and go, right? You got your fall, winter, spring. It's the same thing with life, right? So one time what I ended up doing was writing down significant things that I had remembered from, my life from when I felt like things first started kind of becoming crazy for me. And that was about when I was 21. So I was writing down all of the things that I remembered, the months that they happened. So if the month of August was such and such, I wrote that down. The beginning, I just start from the beginning of the year, right? 2017, 2016, January. I don't remember anything. All I remember is, 2017 here. I just write down whatever month or year I remember, what was going on during that time, how I was feeling, all these things. Did that all the way up until 2024. This is when I was doing the work, right? And then I was going back and just rereading everything, and I noticed that there was a pattern. There was a pattern. Again, I didn't realize that I had recognized the pattern in the way that I did and left it the way that I did, the way that I was supposed to, until I had written it down. But I noticed that not every August, but August was a year where I was going through the same kind of thing. Really, it was the same kind of situation, but it just looked different every single time. And because I was able to see that, it was just like, oh, okay, so this is a pattern here. And all it takes is for you to just be aware of it, right? There was a cycle and then when I go back and think about the me that actually experienced that particular point in time that I was going through, I can see how this particular experience like made me feel and what it did and then I'm comparing it to the next experience that happened and what it did and what it made me feel. And you're just going back and examining those experiences, but with awareness, not necessarily like with your emotions. You're mostly just going back and saying, let me go back and review how that was for me. But I could see in all of those situations how every single August that popped up, not every year, but every August that popped up between those 9 years or whatever it was, those particular Augusts, every single one of them got worse and worse. And so that's what I had recognized when I was going through it. First time it was, whatever, it was crazy, wild, whatever. And then the second, it was just, okay, the situation is just, this is horrible. You know what I'm saying? And then the third time, it was just like, all right, we're not doing this anymore. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing this anymore. We're stepping out of this pattern. It's the pattern recognition. So that was one thing that helped me, is just taking out a pen and a paper and literally just writing out even the last 5 years. You know what I'm saying? If the last 2 years, you can just go month by month. What was going on here that was significant for you? How did it make you feel? Look at the patterns of your life and recognize where you need to step out. Look at the patterns of your life and recognize where you need to step out. Recognize where you're not in alignment. Recognize what is no longer serving you, because that is going to allow you to shed so that you can be lighter to move on to the next level. So I'm just going to leave y'all with that for today. I just had to hop on here because that's been on my mind a lot lately, is pattern recognition. I see it with my son who's autistic, right? There's a million things going on around him, but he'll take a few little toys, different colors and stuff, and he just lines them up. The pattern recognition soothes him. You know what I'm saying? To recognize the pattern keeps him in alignment. You know what I'm saying? And so understanding it that way is like, wow, always recognize the pattern. The pattern is going to take you to alignment.